In the ancient town of Umokoro, deep in the heart of Igbo land, there lived a young man named Obinna. The town was surrounded by thick forests, red earth roads, and streams that sang softly at dawn. Palm trees stood tall like watchmen over the village, and every evening the sound of Umuaka laughing mixed with the rhythm of the equi-drums. Umuokoro was known for one thing: hard work. The elders often said, "A man who washes his hands well can dine with kings." In Igbo culture, wealth was respected, but character was worshipped. A wealthy man without integrity was like a beautiful basket filled with rotten yams. Obinna grew up in a small mud house with his widowed mother, Mama Urena. Life was not easy for them. His father had died when he was only 7 years old, leaving behind debts and a small piece of farmland that produced little cassava. Every morning before sunrise, Mama Urena would tie her wrapper tightly around her waist and head to the market to sell roasted corn and akara. Obinna followed her many times as a child, carrying a small tray on his head. "Mother," he once asked, "why are some people rich while others suffer every day?" Mama Urena smiled weakly and placed her rough hand on his shoulder. "My son, true wealth is not what enters your pocket. It is what enters your heart. Money without wisdom destroys a man." But Obinna did not fully understand. As he grew older, he became restless. He watched wealthy men ride through the village in shining cars during Christmas festivals. He saw expensive wrappers, gold necklaces, and large compounds with high gates. The village youth admired such men. Obinna wanted that life. At the age of 22, he decided he was tired of poverty. "I cannot continue suffering like this," he told his mother one evening. Mama Urena looked at him quietly while stirring soup over the firewood. "What do you want to do?" "I want to travel to the city. I hear there is a place called the Land of Wealth. They say anybody who reaches there becomes rich." His mother stopped stirring. "There is no land without suffering, my son. But I cannot remain poor forever," Obinna shouted. The old woman sighed deeply. "Listen carefully. Wealth is good, but never let desperation steal your soul." Obinna ignored her warning. A week later, carrying only a small bag and a few naira, he left Umokoro for the city of Lagos. The city shocked him. The roads were crowded. Horns screamed endlessly. Buildings touched the sky like giants. Everywhere he turned, people were chasing money. For the first few months, life became harder than village poverty. He slept inside an unfinished building with other young men from different villages. Some nights they went to bed hungry. During the day, Obinna carried cement at construction sites and washed buses at motor parks. But each evening, he remembered the wealthy men from his village and pushed himself harder. One night, while sitting outside a roadside food stall, he met a man named Chief Nanenyalyo. The man wore white agbada and expensive shoes. 2 bodyguards followed behind him. "Young man," the chief said, "why do you look so troubled?" Obinna explained his struggles. The chief laughed. "You are suffering because you think too small. Come and work for me. I can change your life." Obinna's eyes widened. "Really?" "Yes. But in this life, wealth does not come to the weak-hearted." The next day, Obinna began working for the chief. At first, life changed quickly. He moved into a better apartment. He wore fine clothes. He started eating good food for the first time in years. Whenever he sent money home, Mama Urena thanked God. But slowly, Obinna began noticing strange things. Chief Nanenyalyo dealt with dangerous men. Meetings happened late at night. Large bags exchanged hands secretly. Sometimes innocent people cried outside the compound after losing their properties. One evening, Obinna gathered courage. "Chief, what exactly do you do?" The man smiled coldly. "In this world, money respects power. If you want wealth, stop asking too many questions." Obinna became afraid. Yet the taste of comfort had entered his blood. He silenced his conscience. Months passed. Soon Obinna himself became involved in dishonest business. He lied to people. He manipulated poor traders. He collected bribes. Money poured into his account. He bought expensive phones and designer clothes. During Christmas, he returned to Umokoro in a shiny black jeep. The villagers gathered around him in amazement. "Obinna has made it," they shouted. Young boys followed him everywhere. Even some elders praised him. But Mama Urena remained silent. That night, while eating pounded yam together, she looked into his eyes. "My son, where did all this wealth come from?" Obinna forced a smile. "Mother, God has blessed me." The old woman shook her head slowly. "Blessings do not steal peace from a man's eyes." Obinna avoided her gaze. For the first time in his life, he could not sleep peacefully in his mother's house. Every night he heard her words echoing in his heart. But greed had already chained him. After returning to Lagos, things became worse. Chief Naninyario introduced him to larger deals involving fraud and land theft. Obinna knew it was wrong, yet he continued. Then one terrible night, everything collapsed. Police officers stormed the chief's mansion. People ran in every direction. Gunshots filled the air. Obinna escaped through the back gate and ran barefoot into the dark streets. For 2 days he hid under a bridge, hungry and terrified. The money in his account was frozen. His expensive friends disappeared. Nobody answered his calls. For the first time, he understood something painful. The wealth he chased had no loyalty. Broken and ashamed, Obinna returned to Umuokoro. But the village that once celebrated him now whispered behind his back. "Is that not the young man who returned in a jeep? They say police are looking for his boss." He thought wealth was everything. Obinna could not lift his head. When he reached home, he found Mama Urena sitting outside beneath the udala tree. The moment she saw him, she stood up and embraced him tightly. Obinna burst into tears. "Mother, I have failed." Mama Urena held his face gently. "No, my son. Failure is when a man refuses to learn." For days Obinna remained indoors, drowning in shame. One afternoon, an elderly man named Pa Ezechukwu visited him. The old man was respected throughout Umokoro for his wisdom and honesty. He sat beside Obinna quietly. "Young man," he began, "do you know why the Iroko tree stands strong?" Obinna shook his head. "Because its roots are deep. Any wealth without strong roots will fall during the storm." The words pierced Obinna's heart. Pa Ezechukwu continued. "In Igbo land, wealth is not measured only by money. It is measured by the lives you uplift, the honor you keep, and the peace you carry in your soul." Obinna listened carefully. The old man pointed toward the farmland behind the house. "Your father may not have left riches, but he left dignity. That is greater than gold." That evening changed Obinna forever. The next morning, before sunrise, he walked to the old family farmland. The land looked tired and abandoned. Weeds had swallowed most of it. But as Obinna touched the soil, memories flooded back, his father teaching him how to plant yam seedlings, his mother singing while harvesting cassava, the laughter of simpler days. For the first time in years, his heart felt calm. He made a decision. Obinna began farming. At first, the villagers mocked him. From big jeep to hoe and cutlass, they laughed. But he ignored them. He worked tirelessly under the scorching sun. He planted yam, cassava, and vegetables. He learned modern farming techniques from agricultural officers. Slowly, the farm began to flourish. Within 3 years, Obinna became one of the most successful farmers in the region. But this time, his wealth carried peace. He employed village youth so they would not wander into crime. He helped widows pay school fees for their children. he repaired the broken borehole in Umuokoro. And every year during the New Yam festival, he donated food freely to struggling families. The villagers respected him again, not because of flashy cars, but because of his humility and honesty. One evening during a community gathering, the traditional ruler stood before the crowd. "Obinna," he announced, "you have taught this village an important lesson. Wealth without integrity destroys a man, but honest labor brings lasting honor." The crowd applauded loudly. Obinna looked toward his mother. Tears filled her eyes. Later that night, they sat together outside beneath the moonlight. Crickets sang softly in the distance. "Mother," Obinna said quietly, "I finally understand what you meant." Mama Urena smiled. "And what is that?" "True wealth is not what enters a man's pocket. It is what enters his heart." The old woman nodded proudly. "My son, many people travel across the world searching for the land of wealth. But they do not know it already exists inside every honest heart." Years later, Obinna became one of the most respected men in Igbo land. Not because he was the richest, but because he used his blessings to uplift others. Whenever young people came to him seeking advice, he would tell them this: "Do not chase wealth so desperately that you lose yourself. Fast money can build a beautiful house, but only integrity can build a peaceful home. The greatest riches in life are dignity, wisdom, and a good name." And so the story of Obinna spread from village to village. Parents told it to their children beside evening fires. Elders repeated it during moonlight gatherings. It became a reminder that in Igbo culture, success is not measured only by what a man owns, but by who he becomes. Because at the end of life, money fades, but character remains. And that is the true land of wealth.